You might know the exact feeling. Your daily routine looks perfectly fine to everyone else, but underneath the surface, you are running on autopilot. Every interaction feels heavy, and simply moving through your day leaves you completely suffocated. Living with this internal exhaustion often leads to the assumption that you have become lazy or that you're failing at the basic requirements of adulthood. You are witnessing a transition, not a malfunction. This weight is the realization that your internal reality has grown too large for the external structures of your current life. The first symptom of this shift is the instinct to withdraw. You stop returning messages. You pull away from lifelong friends and step out of the routines that once defined your week. Your psyche is retreating into a quiet room, seeking the space required to begin a massive internal reorganization. The pain you feel is the friction of an identity that has become too small to hold you. As you pull away from the world, the internal noise dramatically increases. A panicked inner critic wakes up, obsessively questioning your every move. Neuroscience identifies the source of this voice as the default mode network, or DMN. This network functions as the brain's prediction machine, constantly assembling a story of the self based on past survival patterns. Your DMN is panicking because it is trying to predict a safe future using data from a past identity that no longer fits. The system is throwing errors. Eckhart Tolle describes this as being possessed by the mind. He observes that most people mistake this continuous internal commentary for their actual identity. Awakening begins with the recognition that you are the observer of this voice, rather than the voice itself. That anxiety is the biological echo of an outdated version of yourself fighting for its own survival. Clinical depression reflects a nervous system lacking regulatory stability. An existential awakening is a system intentionally reorganizing at a deeper level. Carl Jung viewed this process as individuation. He described it as the evolutionary withdrawal of psychic energy from an outdated persona. As this energy withdraws, your old ambitions suddenly feel empty. The social roles you spent years performing now feel deeply dishonest and leave you exhausted. Researcher Steve Taylor found that as the old identity collapses, the physiological experience typically follows one of two documented patterns. Ego dissolution is a quiet, structural collapse. It leaves the individual feeling humbled, spacious, and peacefully exposed. An explosive energetic awakening is a highly physical surge. This pattern often involves insomnia, trembling, and an intense kundalini-like emotional release. We must avoid romanticizing total detachment from reality. While this evolution is natural, severe nervous system overwhelm requires professional grounding and support. This phase of total breakdown is known as the dark night of the soul, a term coined by 16th century mystic St. John of the Cross. The dark night exists entirely outside the world of life hacks and performance metrics. It is an invitation to surrender, not a productivity problem to be solved. This darkness serves a specific function. It forces you to meet the underlying pain and grief that your old persona successfully avoided for years. You are losing the layers of your conditioned self, so your deeper truth can emerge. You are finally facing what was already inside you. Encountering this profound emptiness is the evidence that the process is working. The mask has fallen, and the real psychological work has begun. The dark night becomes dangerous only if you remain trapped in an endless loop of self-observation. Momentum returns when you realize that your personal emptiness is the space where the world's needs can finally enter. Thomas More explains that by stretching our moral imagination, we see that our private suffering is actually a microcosm of the suffering of the planet. This realization shifts your focus. You move from the isolation of your own wounds to identifying with the world outside of you. Self-realization occurs when you own the awareness that you are your world. Integration requires you to name your pain honestly without resistance, creating a distance between your core awareness and your temporary emotional state. This distance allows you to utilize your transformed identity. You can now ask, who can I help precisely because I survived the disillusion of my old self? The collapse of your old life provided the necessary clearing for the authentic identity you are now stepping into.